Drones are a great way for travelers to capture themselves and their environments around them, their beautiful scenery, and whatever's going on. But the problem is a lot of times they are bulky or delicate and difficult to lug around. But the DJI Mavic Pro solves a lot of those problems. What makes this drone so unique is that it folds up into a relatively small package. All the propellers fold up, like so, and the arms actually fold in as well. It folds up into a relatively small package that you could almost put in your pocket. This thing's about 3.2 inches wide and 3.2 inches tall and about 7.8 inches long, all folded up. That portable size makes it so much easier to take with you on your adventures to be able to capture the shots that you want. Most consumer drones are flying cameras, and this one has the camera up front. Under this silicone cover, there's this clear plastic bulb that protects the camera from getting bumped. You can fly with this piece of plastic on, but you get a lot of lens flare, so a lot of people take it off. But especially when learning, it's not a bad thing to leave on in case you accidentally did crash. It might protect the camera and gimbal. Removing the plastic cover is easy. It just clips off the bottom. And this camera is gimbaled, which means it can pivot and rotate to keep the camera steady no matter how the drone is pitching and moving when in the air. There's a little plastic piece that sits behind the gimbal that needs to be removed before every flight and inserted when you're done because it locks the gimbal up and protects the very delicate components that allow that camera to move around. Popping that out, you'll notice that this camera basically it kind of can jiggle around and it can point in a number of different directions. The camera can point straight down all the way up to about 30 degrees above the horizon. The camera on this drone has a 12.35 megapixel sensor on it, and it can take pretty high resolution pictures and shoot video up to 4K. The sensor is relatively small. It's a 1/2.3 inch sensor, so it's not great at really low light, but if it's a bright day and you're out in the middle of the day, it captures some pretty stunning, sharp quality pictures. The drone itself is mostly plastic, but it's relatively well built. It's nice and sturdy feeling. The bottom of it here is metal, and these fins here are cooling fins because this thing is basically a flying computer. There's a lot of computation going on, and it needs to cool itself because it's doing a lot of thinking, and it's also running a lot of electronic speed controllers and things like that to run and control the motors extremely precisely. On the bottom of the drone, you'll notice that it has these two little indents here. These right here are actually cameras that look down all the time and help stabilize the drone by comparing the ground to how the drone's moving and helps it stay stationary in the air. You'll also see these two round circles right here. These are sonar detectors, and they look at the ground as well, and they help it measure altitude so it knows if it's going up or down, and it can very, very accurately hover at low altitudes using those systems. On the front here, it has two more cameras, one here and one here, and it uses stereoscopic vision, similar to how our own eyes work, to figure out if something is in front of it. The onboard computation uses those cameras to provide obstacle avoidance. Unless it's turned off from your controller, this drone will actually prevent from crashing into something when flying forward. If landing protection is on, it will also use the cameras on the bottom from crashing into something when it's going down. Now, it doesn't have any obstacle avoidance on the side or back, so that's something you have to note when flying this around. If you're going sideways, you could fly right into the side of a building, and it's not going to do anything to help you prevent that. Now, this little drone sits extremely low to the ground. It sits up on the legs on the front, and on the back here it just has this one little leg that it sits on here, and that makes it kind of difficult to take off from grass or anything like that because it's so low and these propellers are so close to the ground. It's not recommended by DJI, but you can take off from your hand or someone else's hand. You can actually hold it out and take off from their hand, and I frequently land that way as well because it's just not really designed to land on anything but a hard surface. What's pretty incredible about this drone is for its size, it has an incredibly long range. In the US, you could see upwards of 4 miles range, controllability, and live video stream from this drone back to your controller. If you're flying elsewhere in the world, this drone will automatically derate itself for the European standards, but you're still going to see over 2 miles of range out of this drone. Being able to fly that far away, you would need decent flight time and speed to actually make use of that, and this drone will get about 20 to 25 minutes of flight time and can fly at speeds up to 40 miles an hour. That 40 miles an hour, however, is only if the obstacle avoidance is disabled and you put it into sport mode. Sport mode enables the drone to pitch a lot further forward and fly extremely fast, but the obstacle avoidance up here only works at about up to 20 miles an hour. To achieve those speeds and flight time, the drone is relatively light. It only weighs about 1.6 pounds. About half pound of that is the battery itself. The battery sits atop the back of the drone here. It's kind of piggyback, and it has these two release buttons that you squeeze to pop the battery off. The battery is an 11.4 volt lithium ion polymer battery that has about 43 watt hours of power in it. The battery is fully rechargeable, and you will get a DJI charger that is designated to charge this battery when you purchase the drone. The batteries are extremely smart as well. There is actually a computer inside each one of these batteries that monitors all of the cells, makes sure they're within characteristics, and will prevent it from doing something dangerous that could possibly catch fire or damage itself. If you push the button on the top here, that's actually how you turn on the battery, and that's actually how the drone is turned on too. You don't really turn the drone on, you turn the battery on and start providing power to the drone. If you push that button, you'll see lights on here that are giving you a general indication of how much power is in the battery. When hooked up to your controller, you can see all the characteristics of the battery, including how many times it's been discharged, how many times it's been charged, and the batteries will also automatically discharge themselves from 100% full down to about 70-80% to protect themselves, as lithium-ion polymer batteries are not good to be left fully charged all the time. Because all of this is built right into the batteries of the DJI Mavic, it makes it really nice. You don't have to think about it, and they should last a very long time. In addition to the cameras and the sonar that this drone has, it also uses GPS and GLONASS, the Russian GPS system, to help find where it is in the world and stabilize itself. That means if the wind is blowing, it would normally just blow this thing away if it didn't have some sort of stabilization, but it's going to use that GPS to help lock itself in position in the sky. That makes it a lot easier for you to fly it and control it because you basically don't have to think about the wind anymore. This little drone amazingly can fly in winds 20 to 25 miles per hour without any problems. So now let's take a look at the controller. This is the controller that comes with the drone, and as you can see, it's relatively small and compact as well. Just like the drone, this thing folds out as well. The antennas themselves are right here on the top, and they click together and fold out, and they need to be folded out before flight. On the controller itself, it has a screen here that'll display a whole bunch of information about your flight characteristics and such. And how this is designed to work is that it's designed to put your own device into this cradle that folds out on the bottom of the controller here. You do need an Android or Apple device to fly this drone and be able to see what it's seeing. You can set your phone or device into the cradle here and collapse these around it and fly the drone just like so, looking at what the drone sees on the screen right here. The controller plugs into your Android or Apple device via a cable that plugs into the side here and runs down and actually plugs into the phone right here. You have to connect your phone like so to the plug and then slide it into the controller. You also need to get the DJI Go 4 app to fly the Mavic, and you're going to have to create a login with DJI to be able to use it. Personally, I like to fly on a much larger screen, so we use an iPad, and I use an adapter that actually slides into the position where the phone would slide into and raises the iPad up. The only drawback to that is that I cannot see the screen easily on the controller, but on the DJI Go 4 app, you still get all the information that's displayed on the Mavic screen here. The controller is designed to connect to another device via a USB port. It has a full-size USB port on the bottom of the controller here, and we use this little coiled USB connection to plug the iPad directly into the USB port on the bottom. It connects to the DJI Go app just like if you were using a phone or a smaller device, and it really works well. The controller is rechargeable just like the batteries for the drone itself. The charger that's designed to charge the batteries also has USB ports on it and is designed to be able to charge the controller, which you actually plug in the charger through the same port that your phone plugs into. The battery life on the controller isn't bad. It's definitely not as good as some drones I've flown in the past, but it has a relatively powerful transmitter in it. There's actually a little bit of fan in the controller itself, and when you're flying at long ranges for a long period of time, it gets kind of warm and that fan will kick on. Because it's using so much power, I'd say that I normally see maybe 5 to 8 flights before I need to recharge the controller itself. So this drone can be flown with just the controller, even without a phone. You can turn it on and it'll connect, and you can use this information here to fly the drone around. You have controls on the controller itself to take pictures, take video. You have little wheels up here that this wheel, pulling it down, will point the gimbal on the camera itself down, and pushing it up will push the gimbal up. Over here you have controls to scroll back and forth and adjust the ISO and sensitivity of the camera. On the right hand side of the controller here you'll see a little button that says Sport, and this button can be flicked down or up easily on the whim, and what that's going to do is when it's flicked up into sport mode, it's going to disable all the obstacle avoidance on the drone and make it be able to fly a lot faster. In normal mode, the drone will fly 15 to 20 miles per hour and is kind of sluggish. You can change all of the parameters of how it flies in the settings of the app, but in sport mode it's a lot faster, a lot more responsive, and you can really get somewhere quick because it'll push the speed to about 40 miles per hour maximum. On the bottom of the controller you also have 2 buttons here. They're kind of hot buttons that can also be programmed to do different things, and a lot of times the app will pop up with a question like, are you sure you want to enter or exit this mode? You can select yes or no just by pressing these buttons here, so you don't really have to take your hands off the controller very often at all. So you can fly the drone with just the controller and a phone or an iPad, or you can actually fly the drone with just your phone as well. On the side of the drone there is a slot for an SD card here, and it can take, I believe, up to 128 gigabyte SD card. We typically run a 64 gigabyte SD card in the drone, and that's where the primary video is stored. You can also set your device that you're flying on up to record the video that the drone sees and transmits back to you, but the video here is going to be a much higher resolution. The drone transmits back 720p high definition video, so you can really get a great idea of what it's seeing, but still you can't record 1080p or 4K video off of this device. It needs to be stored on an SD card on the drone itself. Inside this little slot here, there is a switch that says Wi-Fi or RC, and if it's switched to Wi-Fi mode, you can actually fly this drone using your phone alone without the controller at all. It uses the Wi-Fi functionality of your phone, and you're going to be able to control it with little joysticks that'll show up on the screen. However, it's going to be very limited in range and functionality because you just can't go very far, a couple hundred feet. But if you didn't want to take the controller with you, go for a hike with just the drone, you could still get it up to take that selfie without using the controller at all. So all this may sound pretty complicated, and there is a lot to it, but the learning curve is actually not as steep as you may think. Because the drone has such incredible stability in it, and there's a number of beginner modes that you can turn on in the app, learning to fly is actually quite easy. You can take off and just let off the controllers, let off the sticks, and the drone is just going to hover right there. And all you have to do is just learn how to fly it forward, back, and everything very slowly until you really get the hang of it. You can learn to fly it at your own pace and slowly integrate all of these advanced features that come with the drone. There's so many additional features that are really great for cinematographers as well, like autonomous flight functionality where you can tell the drone to circle an object, or you can have it track an object and have it follow it automatically. You can tell the drone to fly a path or follow the terrain automatically so that you don't accidentally crash into a rock. There are so many things that you can do with this drone, more than I can cover in the video today. But if you look into it, I think that the capabilities of this drone are some of the most advanced on the market for the price and the compactness that you get in this unit. I think that this drone is a really great traveler's drone because of its size and compactness. I think it's relatively sturdy. It's extremely well built. I mean, the machining and everything is really top notch. But the camera is a bit delicate. Because it has this full 3-axis gimbal, a lot could go wrong here. It needs to be braced when not in use, hence the little plastic piece that goes in here. I'd say that's definitely a drawback to this drone, as this can be kind of difficult to get in here, and you have to be so careful with this camera that you could easily damage something here. If care is taken with this though, I think that overall it's a really sturdy drone. We primarily carry it in this case right here. Everything fits into this little satchel that we can throw over our shoulder. It's almost always in the truck with us and ready to go whenever an opportunity might arise that we need to fly. If you're looking to travel with a bit sturdier of an option though, something like this might be a great option. This is a hard case designed to carry all the components of the Mavic, and as you can see, it carries 3 batteries, the controller, the Mavic, and a number of different accessories, and will keep it waterproof and really ruggedized. Even this is a relatively small package to carry such a powerful drone. I've had this drone for about a year now, and for the most part it's been very reliable. It's got about 20 flight hours on it now, meaning it's been in the air for about 20 hours, and I haven't had anything that's really concerned me, like it was going to crash or I was going to lose it. But we have had a few weird issues. The gimbal restarted a handful of times, but that seemed to be fixed with some firmware updates that DJI has pushed to the drone over the year. And those firmware updates can be a bit of a pain. A lot of times you'll fire up your DJI Go app and it says firmware needs to be updated. That just entails connecting your device to a Wi-Fi network and allowing it to update the drone, which can take anywhere from 10 minutes to half an hour. The other problem that we've had with our particular unit is that the gimbal, for some reason, will always max itself out when we turn it on. When it's testing itself, it slams to all its limits, and I tried to contact DJI to inquire about this, and they really weren't very helpful to get this straightened out. DJI is a Chinese company, but they do have pretty good support in the US and Europe for their products. They told me that this was probably normal performance, but I could send it in and they'd look at it, but I didn't really want to do that, and it continues to do that every time we start it up, but it hasn't seemed to cause any problems with the drone so far. Another thing I like about the Mavic is there's a lot of accessories you can get for it. It's a relatively popular model. On this one here we have the Polar Pro filter, ND filters or polarizing filters to change the image quality a bit. We clearly fly with the iPad a lot, and there's a lot of different mounts for holding iPads. As we talked earlier, there's the mounts for raising it up. There's a lot of different accessories you can get so that you can really customize this drone to what you're trying to do with it. Batteries are relatively cost effective for this drone as well, so you can get a handful of them and you can just continuously swap them out. DJI also makes a 4-battery charging unit that you can just connect all these batteries to and plug it in, and it will charge all the batteries one after another so that you don't have to continuously plug in and charge each battery one at a time. There are a handful of other drones that compete with the Mavic, but the range of this drone, even if you're not going to use the range, it has such solid transmission quality that even at a shorter distance, it's just rock solid video and control of the drone itself. The functions and features, those additional autonomous functionality, the obstacle avoidance, all of this comes together in such a nice package that I think really gives it a lot of bang for the buck. DJI is also a real leader in the consumer drone market. They've been through a number of their different drones, the Phantom series all the way up to their Inspire series, and they've really taken a lot of the learnings from those drones and packed them into this drone to provide a really nice package and give you a lot of features. For the investment, the functionality, the foldability of it, I think this is a very quality product that will hold up really well. Now that this drone's about a year old, DJI did come out with another product, the DJI Spark, which may be even a little better for travelers. It's a little bit smaller, probably a little bit more robust, but lacks a few of the features like the range and the quality of the video. While this is our go-to drone and we use a lot of video from this, there are some drones out there that will provide better video quality. The sensor in this is really small, so you're going to see it wash out a little bit more. You're not getting a really big depth of range in the contrast. And it's also going to grain up a lot more as the light goes down. If you're flying after sunset, you're going to see a lot more grain in the footage compared to something with a larger sensor. If you're looking for a drone, especially something to travel with, the Mavic offers so many features and takes such great video that I highly recommend it for anyone looking to travel with a drone. It provides a lot of features. The compactness, the robustness, and the quality all come together to make this a really great middle-of-the-road package. I will provide some links in the description below this video for this drone itself and some competitors and some more information that might help you out in making a decision if this drone is right for you. As always, thank you so much for watching Road Gear Reviews. I'm Tom from Morton's on the Move, and we will see you next time.
If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Also be sure to subscribe to our channel for weekly uploads of our travel product reviews.
Alright, just got something in the mail. There you go. Collapsible pocket drone. It's basically a clone of a DJI Mavic. So, this one says JYO19, but the one I actually bought was an E58 or something, so I guess they're all the same thing, just repackaged. Nice box, decent box. If you put good quality in your packaging, it's usually a pretty good product, so yeah, it looks pretty nice. There's the manual. It's a little tiny drone. If you pay close attention to the camera on it, doesn't have a motor on it, so I guess you can't control it from the controller. So you got to point it where you want it to go before you fly it. But if you got to pay real close attention to the dimensions and the descriptions and stuff when you buy them, because this thing is tiny. I mean, I was expecting it to be this small, but I mean, it cost around 70 bucks. So, and it's a clone of a DJI, so I'm hoping since it was about a tenth of the price, it's got at least a tenth of the quality. So, the propellers are kind of weird. They don't fix into place, but I guess once they start spinning, they kind of lock into place. But it looks good. It's really lightweight. See if it powers on. Nope. Where's the SD card slot? No SD card that I can see. Maybe there's one in here. It's kind of lame that it didn't come with an SD card. These must be for the props. Yeah, no SD card. The controller here, off on. Okay. Controller's kind of lame, but from what I understand, you don't actually need the controller. You can fly it with your phone. Need a screwdriver to open it. Oh, you know what? What's this? There we go. That's how you hold your phone. Yeah, it says emotion drone. That's what I searched for. That's where the phone goes. So I don't know what this thing is. There's nothing electrical going to it, so that's not an antenna. I don't know what these things. I guess these things are just for looks. It's kind of lame. But that will hold my phone. Okay, that's a better idea. That will hold my phone. I don't know what these things are though. And then it's got 2 trigger buttons on each side. Left and right. I'm assuming these are the trim buttons, up and down on both sides. I don't know where I guess it's self-stabilizing because it doesn't have a throttle control like the other ones I've done. By the way, if you saw the last drone video I did, that white one I had, I didn't fly it a whole lot in the review video, but I did recently. I gave it to one of my nephews recently, and it actually flies pretty well. So if you go back and look for that one, I'll probably post a link on at the end of this or something to it. But that was actually a pretty decently flying drone. The camera was garbage and everything, but the drone actually flew pretty well. This is pretty cool. The battery pack is built into a tray that slides in and out. That's pretty cool. Let's see where the charger is. Doesn't actually have a charger meant for this. It's only got a couple of half props. It's got 4 backup props, but it's only a half a prop. It's not a full one. So that's kind of weird. It's really only 2 backup props. But one of the good things about this drone is after I bought it, I was looking around online, and you can get all these replacement parts and everything pretty easily. So, let's see, is there a place to plug in the... How do you charge the battery? Battery goes in here. It doesn't have a charger. There it is. Okay. I was looking for something to charge it right there, but no, it's got a USB port on the side of the battery. Right there. It's got a USB port on the side right there. So that is how you charge it. So that's pretty cool. Let me go ahead and get this charged up. And yeah, I'll get it charged up and we'll try to fly it. And I'll see about finding the app for it too and get that downloaded. I was hoping there'd be like a QR scanner or something down. Oh yeah, there we go. It does have the QR scanners right there. And the QR codes for domestic use and for foreign use. But since this is from China, am I going to use the domestic one or the foreign one? I don't know. But anyway, you can control it on your phone. It's supposed to have a live feed to your phone, from what I understand. But let me dig out an SD card and get this charged up and we'll try it out. So real quick, I just plugged in the battery in the other room. And it's basically the tray that the battery sits in is the charger for it. So it's got the indication light and everything built into the battery itself. So it's like a built-in charger. And you can buy replacement batteries and multiple backup batteries too. So that's the cool thing about this drone. Alright, got that on. Let's see, get my phone out. Okay, its camera's working on it. Whoa, well that was nice. Might have to take the case off my phone and get it to fit in here. Yeah, okay, this is not holding my phone at all. Okay. Okay. A couple of cool things. I got the camera controls on the phone. It's also got a VR mode, which it doesn't want to do right now. Let's see. Okay. I had that working a little while ago. What's going on here? Let's try it on the sidewalk. Don't want to fly into the tree though. Oh, there we go. Nope, nope, come back. It's flying forward. I don't like that. It does kind of self-stabilize, but it wants to fly forward. I don't know if that's the wind. It is putting out a lot of force on the ground. I don't want it to fly forward. Whoa, now it's coming back for me. There we go. It's pretty stable right there. Okay, it's kind of moving a little bit on its own there, but it's pretty stable. The camera, for whatever reason, the phone's not connected to it for some reason. But it does fly pretty easily. Spins around. So it's really stable. This is a pretty impressive little drone, considering the... It kind of just wants to fly to that direction. That's the wind blowing it. That's what it wants to do. Okay, so let's try the land button. And it lands itself. That's pretty cool. Takes off on its own. And it lands itself. I don't know what's going on with that. I think my batteries are low, but this thing's pretty cool. I can't get the phone app to work on it right now, but actually I think I just... Oh, the wind's blowing it. That's what's going on. The wind is a problem with it, but something's beeping here for some reason. The wind keeps changing directions on me, so it keeps... Okay, I'm gonna just turn that off. Alright, so I think I finally got it connected here. It's got a VR mode, which is pretty cool. I do have a VR headset I could put it into. Doesn't want to fly with the controllers. I'm not sure how to get it to do that. I don't know what that does. Oh, there we go. Oh, oops. Puddle of water. Oops. But anyway, I actually had it flying there for a second. I hope that water didn't ruin it. Okay, it just started up. Try to fly it on my phone. Let's go ahead and start the camera. Oh, it just turned off. Never mind. Take a picture. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool actually. Although it's not quite as easy to control. Trying to get it to come back over here. Nope, that's the wrong way. Whew. Okay, stop. Alright, well, I think that might have been a good test on the camera anyway. Definitely easier to control with the controller. Ugh. And go see what the... go put it in some rice to dry it out and put it in the... put the SD card in the computer and see what happened. Alright, I swapped out the SD cards and this one actually worked. But there's this weird bug where, you know, there's no sound on it, which is pretty cool because all the other ones, all you hear is the propellers. So I'd rather have no sound than that. This one plays for about that long and then just shuts down. There's some kind of a error, like it's a corrupted file. But I was actually able to transfer the drone has a Wi-Fi signal on it that connects to your phone. So I was actually able to download it to my phone from the drone. So I've got that full video. It's about a minute long. But this one, for whatever reason, it's only... It says it's 50 seconds here, but it plays for like 10 or 15 seconds and then stops. It's corrupted. But on my phone, I've got the full version. So, I mean, the video quality is kind of... It's nothing to be desired. I mean, it's just... It's horrible. It's 720p supposedly, but it's not even that good. I mean, I have my GoPro set to 720, and it still looks way better than that. This is like, that's the problem with all these cheap drones, is the cameras on them are really low quality. So this one, I mean, it works, and I think once you get up high enough, you don't even really notice the definition issues. But I'll show the two videos side by side right here. Here's this one that plays for like 10 seconds and then stops. And yeah, it just does that. And then, see, I'll just go ahead and play the full length video right here. Let's see. Drone. There we go. Photos. It has that same photo on there. It just took a photo of the marble slab that I had it sitting on out there, which it actually picks up the reflections and the shadows and stuff on it in pretty nice detail. You can see there. I'll show the yeah. And let's see. Here's the video. Let's see what it looks like. It actually looks a little bit better downloaded from my phone on there. And it does play the full... No, that plays for about 10 seconds and stops too. That is weird. It plays the full video on my phone, but on the computer it only plays for 10 seconds and stops. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe if once I transfer them to my computer here, let me go ahead and do that. Maybe once I transfer it, it's only 27 megabytes. That is not a very big file. Let's see if that plays the full minute. It's got this weird bug. On my phone, I can watch the full minute-long video, but on my computer, I can't. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe once I get it into the editing program, it'll correct. Now this is the one taken from my phone. It's the exact same size. It's probably going to have the exact same error. But for whatever reason, on my phone, I can watch the full video, but on the computer, it only goes for 10 seconds and then stops. Let's see. Huh. I don't know what that's about. Alright though, so there you go. I'm going to go and test it out a little bit more. I've got the batteries charging back up. I didn't charge them very long, so they died on me. But it flies really well. I'm impressed with that. It does fly very well. So if you just want to fly a drone, it's great. It's perfect. It's real lightweight, so the wind blows it around a lot. But it stabilizes itself. It takes off on its own. It lands on its own. Big issues that I have is just like every other cheap drone out there, when you use the factory controller with it, there's no way to differentiate the camera button. Like I clicked the camera button on the controller and it didn't do anything. Nothing happened. It didn't record anything. It didn't take any pictures. So that was garbage. And even at that, it's the same button to do both photo and video. That's annoying. Like how do you know if you're doing video or photo? That's with every cheap drone. But this one does let you access everything through your phone, and it does actually have separate buttons on your phone through the app that controls one for the photos, one for the camera, or one for video. And that's pretty cool. You can download the videos straight from the SD card to your phone through the drone itself wirelessly. I transferred everything here. There's some kind of weird glitch. I don't know what's going on, but it only played the video for like 10 seconds. So I'm going to test that out some more and see if maybe it was just the file that got corrupted. because there's like when you stop recording, it says cancel plan or something. So it might not be saving the video properly. But I'm gonna give it a couple more test shots, and I'll run all that after this part. But overall, it's probably the best drone I've bought so far. I know with all the money I've spent on these cheap drones, I probably could have just put all that together and bought a nice DJI or something. But there's a difference between buying a cheap drone and being able to save up to get an expensive one. I don't have all that much money at once, so I can afford the cheap stuff. I just can't afford the expensive one. And but yeah, this drone, it flies well. The video, the quality of the camera is complete garbage. But I might use it for. We'll see if it looks good when I take it out to the river or the lakes or something. If I ever get it back, if I don't lose it out there. One issue is a lot of drones, like the expensive ones, the DJI, when you hit the land button, it comes back to the spot where it took off. This one, when you hit the land button, it drops straight down. So if you're above water and you hit the land button by mistake, you need to quickly correct that and get it back up because it's going to land in the water. But yeah, it does take off on its own. It stabilizes itself. It lands itself, and that's something I have not been able to do with any other drones, is land. It's usually just a crash and a couple bounces. So this is, as far as the flying goes, this is the best drone I've had. I'm impressed with the way it flies. It's easy to fly, but the camera is garbage. Another thing is all the other drones I've done, the cameras have audio for some reason, which is pointless because all you can hear is the blade spinning, and it's loud and obnoxious. This one does not have audio, so it's easy to just put some music over it or something. Hopefully I'll be able to get enough footage to do that right now. Well, right here you can see it's the same footage I was showing earlier that ran for 10 seconds and then stopped. But my theory was actually correct, that when I put it into the editor, it actually plays all the way through. But there's some kind of issues with the rendering here. There's like weird light splotches popping up, like right here in the top corner that in the yard there. That is weird. There's some pixelation around the edges, but it does work. Once I get the video itself into the editor here, it loads. But I wasn't able to get the full thing to play. But I'm gonna head back out right now and try to get some more footage. One last thing, after the footage you just saw there, it is easier to fly with the factory controller, but you can't control a camera with that apparently, and but the phone does that. Unfortunately, you can't use your phone and the controller at the same time. It's one or the other. You can't do both. So that really actually completely negates the whole purpose of the phone rack on the bottom of the controller. It's like, why would you put your phone there if you can't connect your phone and the controller at the same time? Why do you need that? But you can either fly it with your phone or fly it with the controller. Both ways are pretty easy, but it is easier to fly with the controller than with your phone. But if you're doing it for photography reasons, which if you're doing that, you're an idiot. It's a low quality camera. But if you're doing it for photography reasons, you can use your phone and control the camera better. You can't control the angle or anything. You can set the angle before you take off, but you can't control it once it's in the air. But you can control photo and video. It's very clear and easy to figure out. But flying with the controller, which is a lot more fun and a lot more stable, or easier to control anyway, you can't really control the camera. So, yeah, so I mean, if you want something to practice with before getting a Mavic, then this might, I don't know how, I've never actually flown a Mavic, but I don't know how they compare, but this was really easy to fly, and it might prepare you for something like that. So thanks for watching. It's probably too dark for you to see me, but yeah, do not fly these at night. I just had to walk and knock on a stranger's door because the wind carried it to somebody's backyard. And luckily they were very nice. But that's not something I ever want to do again. So fly these at a park during the day.
So you know those tech review videos where you don't really know who the reviewer is, but they happen to be in a very interesting location and they have a cool new piece of gear, so you watch their video? Well, that is Iceland, and this is the new Mavic 2 Pro. Hi everybody, it's Andy from Andy's Travel Blog. Like I said, here in Iceland. I'm on a farm where I stayed in the guest house just north of Seljalandsfoss along the southern coast of Iceland. I've done the entire ring road in 7 days, heading back to Reykjavik tonight, heading back to Texas tomorrow. And this video is really about Iceland, but it's about Iceland via the Mavic 2 Pro. So DJI released 2 new drones like a week and a half ago, and I ordered the Mavic 2 Pro during the announcement. Luckily, it got to my house like 2 days before I left for Iceland, so I was able to take it on this trip, which is great for everybody, hopefully for you too. But real quick, before I show you some of the footage and show you some of the images, let's talk about the Mavic 2 series. DJI released 2 drones as part of the Mavic 2 series. The Mavic 2 Zoom, which has a 12 megapixel sensor and can zoom optically 28 millimeters to 48 millimeters in like DSLR equivalents. And they released the Mavic 2 Pro, which cannot zoom, but it has a 20 megapixel sensor similar to the Phantom 4 Pro, which I have and I love. So it has a 20 megapixel 1-inch sensor, so it's a much better image quality for stills. And when it comes to video, this can shoot in 10-bit color. And they have their DJI's new D-Log M format that you can shoot in to capture all of the dynamic range. I don't know how to shoot with that. I don't know how to color grade it, so I just shoot in their normal modes. But maybe someday I'll learn. This is probably a good reason to learn. Now, let me tell you how I've used it and why I wanted the Pro. Like I said before, I'm not much of a drone videographer. I'm not much of an actual videographer either. I'm a pretty good photographer, and I feel like I'm a good drone photographer, and so I wanted image quality. I do use my drone for commercial purposes, helping construction companies keep track of their projects and stuff like that. So I needed good image quality. 12 megapixels wasn't going to cut it. I needed 20. So this drone right here is incredibly portable. It folds down, these propellers fold in, and it actually can fit. So the drone, the battery, 2 extra batteries, and the controller in this little bag, which compared to my head, and I have a big head, you can see it doesn't take up that much space compared to the Phantom 4 Pro, which takes up all the space you have, and then you have to add the batteries, and then you have to add the controller, and before you leave on your trip, half of your rollerboard is just your drone. So I love the portability of this. As you can see, it folds right up, and that's not the fold in one. Make sure I don't break this in my YouTube video, that would be embarrassing. Okay, so it folds right up into this little comfy tiny package, and yeah, it's just wonderful. So let's talk though about Iceland. What have I been doing here? Well, I've been flying a drone around and I've been taking pictures and driving around. I've done like I said, most of the ring road. I started in the Snæfellsnes Peninsula around Kirkjufell, then went up into the West Fjord region, which was wonderful. And then I went across the north over to Akureyri, and then down to the Vestrahorn, and to Vik, to the Diamond Beach, and then I'm very close to Seljalandsfoss and heading back to Reykjavik tomorrow. And what I've tried to do is get a good sampling of footage from the drone to share with you. First off, let's look at some pictures. You can see the full versions of these on andystravelblog.com. You can use the link in the description below to get there. The image quality is excellent. I think it's on par with the Phantom 4 Pro, which I love and I use in commercial work again. So it's very capable. The dynamic range is good. DJI, for whatever reason, is a bit nuclear in the greens, so you really have to work with the greens and the yellows and make sure they're well contained. But you can shoot in RAW, and it's really not that big of a deal. Pretty easy to correct. So here's a couple of images from my experience here in Iceland. Okay, you've seen some images. Now when it comes to video, you have a bunch of different options that you can choose from. You can just choose from normal flying, and then you have the pitch and yaw controls for the gimbal right there on the controller. And so you can do a shot like this, for example, at Aldearfoss. So that's pretty cool, unless it gives you vertigo, in which case I'm sorry. But then you can do shots like active track, which active track is simply where you just point at something, you click something on your phone screen or your tablet screen, and it will track that individual or track that object. I didn't want to just videotape me running around because you've seen me a lot, so I wanted it to track something a little different. It kept up really well with the car. So the drone in its P mode can fly up to 30 miles an hour. So I was able to get a good amount of speed and it kept up with me pretty well. So kudos to DJI on that. Now something new they added for the Mavic 2 models is hyperlapse mode. For those of you who don't know what a hyperlapse is, a time lapse would be like a static camera looking at a scene, taking images at a certain interval, and then combining it all together to make it look like a video. Well, hyperlapse does the same concept, but moving. So it's not like moving on a slider from here to here, it's moving like from over there to over there. So they can do the whole thing in camera now, or in drone, and deliver a 1080p hyperlapse that they make, or you can keep the raw files and do it yourself. So here's an example of a hyperlapse. Okay, it started raining, so I had to cancel that one. So here's another one. Okay, so you take the image quality, you take the active tracking and the new sort of technology they're building into this thing. Before I moved to the debut of my drone film about Iceland, how is it to fly? Yeah, I flew the original Mavic Pro and I didn't really like it compared to my Phantom 4 Pro. It just didn't feel as powerful, as capable. It felt like the wind was flying it as much as I was sometimes. The Mavic 2 Pro changed all that. It flew so well. It was very capable. I felt in control of the drone. Even in some pretty windy conditions, I could take it up to altitude and it was excellent. I mean, this is a really, really seriously capable drone. But I want you to be the judge of that yourself. I would like to debut my drone film about Iceland. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed putting it together. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. And that's going to wrap up this quick review, these first impressions of the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I spent the money. I'm glad I got the Fly More combo with a little baggie. It was very functional. But yeah, what do you want to know? Leave me some comments. Let me know if you have questions about this. And like I said, the full-size images will be available at andystravelblog.com, and there's a link below. This is Andy from Andy's Travel Blog. We'll see you in the skies. Take care.
Ogni volta che vedete un video nuovo sul mio canale YouTube, qui ad Ali di Classe c'è un prodotto nuovo da vedere. Questa volta, grazie a Filmagini Produzioni, abbiamo qui con noi a mano uno zaino talmente piccolo che potrete già immaginare cosa c'è dentro, il Mavic Pro. Apriamo subito lo zainetto. Cosa ci sarà dentro? Poca roba. Vediamo un po'. Partiamo subito con il piccolissimo e compattissimo Mavic Pro. All'interno della valigia abbiamo anche due batterie. Questa valigia non è l'originale della DJI, ma effettivamente ci sta talmente tanta roba che verrebbe quasi voglia di comprarla. Se magari volete sapere dove l'ho presa, anzi dove l'ha presa Filmagini Produzioni, nel link in descrizione magari ci mettiamo i dettagli. Questo è il piccolissimo radiocomando al quale va collegato il nostro telefonino, e qui dentro abbiamo un sacco di altri scomparti che ci permettono di inserire veramente tantissimo materiale all'interno, compreso su uno zaino, su una sport esterna, anche tutti i caricabatterie e quant'altro. Ma bando alle ciance, so che ve ne frega poco della parte dell'unboxing e andiamo subito a provare questo Mavic. Ok, partiamo dal radiocomando. Veramente compatto, ma ne avevamo già parlato ancora con l'altra recensione che avevamo fatto al VRC. Se non l'avete vista, cliccate qua in alto e dateci un'occhiata. E lo apriamo in questa maniera qua per andare a posizionarci il telefonino. Ha una stabilità incredibile, ha una presa veramente fatta bene. Partiamo accendendo il radiocomando con il solito metodo, un click veloce e un click prolungato. Poi andiamo ad attivare l'applicazione DJI Go 4. Nel frattempo, mentre accendiamo la DJI Go 4, andiamo ad aprire il nostro piccolo, mamma mia quanto è piccolo, andiamo ad aprire i due bracci anteriori, prima dei bracci posteriori perché altrimenti non riuscite ad aprirli, e poi i due bracci posteriori. L'unica cosa che dovremo ricordarci di staccare è il piccolo aggancio della telecamera posteriore, perché altrimenti il gimbal sarà bloccato. Vado ad accendere anche il mezzo, solito suono classico del Mavic. Una cosa interessante di queste eliche a chiusura rapida è che si aprono automaticamente. GPS mode, ok, ha appena preso il GPS mode. Per armare i motori abbiamo il nostro CNC, quindi le due leve verso il basso e al centro, e vedete che le eliche si aprono automaticamente. Abbiamo armato i motori e quindi decolliamo e vediamo come si comporta questo mezzo finalmente all'aria aperta, perché l'ultima volta vi ricorderete che l'ho provato solo in una cavolo di gabbia da 3 metri per 3. Che dire, nell'ultimo periodo ne abbiamo provati di mezzi, ma vi garantisco che questo è mostruoso. È mostruoso veramente. Per farvi capire come reagisce il Mavic quando lo andiamo a spostare, torna sempre e comunque sul suo punto. Tra l'altro qui sotto abbiamo il sonar e le telecamere di posizionamento che mantengono ancora maggiormente fisso il drone mentre vola. Facciamo una ripresa test per vedere come va. Come tutti gli altri mezzi di DJI abbiamo anche qui la possibilità di impostare lo Sport Mode, e quando andiamo a volare in Sport Mode questa è la velocità di crociera. Nel frattempo suona perché ricordiamo che anche il nostro piccolo Mavic ha dei sensori di posizionamento e dei sensori di prossimità, quindi se io do tutto comando verso di me, verso di là va via, ma se io mi punto lui si ferma e non viene più avanti. Le mie impressioni su questo mezzo? Fantastiche. Uno dei migliori mezzi portatili e utilizzabili in tutte le situazioni. È veramente piccolissimo, guardate il fatto che sia così minuscolo anche quando è aperto ci dà la possibilità di utilizzarlo ovunque. L'unica cosa è che qui sotto questi sensori sono molto sensibili, quindi se inavvertitamente volessimo andare a recuperare il mezzo manualmente, quindi con le mani, anche se non è veramente consigliato, anche se volessimo prenderlo con le mani non è possibile farlo perché si allontanerebbe da noi. Quando il drone è in volo, seppur con l'inclinazione massima, ha la possibilità di avere una visuale completa davanti a sé, perché la telecamerina non inquadra mai le eliche. Direi che ho detto tutto quello che si poteva dire. È stata una recensione così improvvisa perché non mi aspettavo. È arrivato il nostro amico di Filmagini che ci ha permesso di fare la recensione, quindi ho colto la palla al balzo perché tanti mi avevate chiesto di fare 2 chiacchiere in più su questo prodotto. Spero vi sia piaciuta come tutte le altre. Pollice in su, non tanto per il mio video ma per il piccolo Mavic, che è veramente fantastico, un drone splendido. Non sono stato pagato per dirlo, quindi è proprio una figata, ragazzi, questo drone. Pollice in su anche per il mio video, iscrivetevi al mio canale, un saluto a tutti quanti, ciao!
Hey, thanks for checking out my video today, guys. Today I want to do a review for you from a noob's perspective, from a guy that's never flown a drone, never owned one. I didn't even fly a friend's when I had the opportunity. Just had no desire to do it whatsoever. I saw this at Target. It was $1,000. I've been curious about him, I have to admit, recently. I've been watching a lot of Casey Neistat, and some of his drone footage just looks amazing. So I wanted to try it and just test it out more than anything. My reason for buying was just to try it out. I definitely plan on returning this thing. I personally can't find a reason to keep it or to spend $1,000 on a drone. There's so many other things that I would rather spend $1,000 on, like a better camera for doing my videos or lenses or something like that. For me personally, I just do not do any outdoor videos for my channel, so I just can't see wasting $1,000 on a drone. I will say I've used it for 2 days now. It's very cool, very awesome, and I will show some footage of this thing. I was flying it today. It was very windy out, and the pictures that I got, the video that I captured, was rock solid. I'm very impressed with how small this drone was. I was actually flying over top of a river, and you know, with the intention of returning this thing, the last thing I want to do is wreck it or drop it into a river or whatever. So I was very cautious with flying it. And as being my first time flying a drone, it was very intuitive, very easy to actually fly, and made me feel very comfortable flying it, because I knew that if I would do something wrong, it would actually take over and correct itself from actually crashing or, you know, running into an obstacle or whatever the case would be. There is a beginner's mode on this that you can turn on that will prevent you from going higher than 30 meters or 30 meters away from where your home location is. So that certainly helps with it getting too far away from you where you can't see it, or potentially wreck it or crash it into wires or a tree or something like that. On the bottom you can see there's these are two like infrared sensors or radar sensors, and then you have a camera there and a camera there. And out the front here there's dual cameras, not including the gimbal, and then in the back there's no cameras as far as I can tell. Now that doesn't mean that there isn't some sort of radar sensors or something there, but as far as I can tell there's nothing in the back of the drone. When I unpackaged this thing, it did come with an extra set of blades, so if you did, you know, break a blade on one of the sides, you'll have one blade per side, because these blades, I can't put this blade on this side or vice versa because of the way the rotor spins. So you do have one blade per side as a backup. As far as the wires are concerned, you do get 2 extra wires for the remote. Now this wire here actually will plug into your phone down here, and this is an iPhone, so I had just the standard, you know, iPhone connector there. But it also does come with a USB Type-C and a micro USB connector, and that's what these two are right here. This is another micro USB cable, and this is actually to charge up the controller, which you actually do with the power brick. So this cord plugs into that, and then it plugs into just an outlet. But on the other side here, you have 2 USB slots. Now one of them you can use to power up to charge up your controller, and the other slot there, I presume that you could actually charge your cell phone from that. Now this other cord here is actually the connector that would charge up the battery, and the battery comes off really simple. You just squeeze, there's 2 buttons on the side there, you just want to squeeze those and it pops right off, and this is what you got. Now replacement batteries are $90. I did not buy an extra battery. Again, I just wanted to buy this to test it out, see what I thought of it, and just for this review. So to charge it up, you simply just need to take the connector and push it onto the bottom of the battery like that, and it will charge up in about 1.5 hours. And the controller as well is about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And that's pretty much it for hardware. The box that it came in is nothing special. It's just a cardboard box. I probably wouldn't recommend that you transport this around in that box. Maybe buy a case to put all this stuff in, or just simply throw it into a book bag. Now for me, I saw that they had things on Amazon where you could actually buy like special propeller, you know, locks and stuff, so when you have it all folded up, you can actually put these little things on and it'll lock the blades in place so that they're not all flopping around when you're trying to put it in your bag or take it out or whatever. So I have a bunch of these Velcro straps that I use for just tidying up wires on my computer, and I just took 2 of them and put them together and literally just wrap it around the actual drone itself, and it basically serves the same purpose, and I don't have to worry about the plastic ruining the finish on the actual drone itself. Now on the front here we have our 3-axis gimbal, and this does shoot in 4K, which the video footage that I got is awesome. You just have to learn how to fly the drone slow enough and not jerk the actual drone or camera around so that you get a nice smooth picture, and I will show you guys some of that stuff. But with this here, basically this is just a silicone cover, and you just pop that off, and then you actually have your gimbal inside there. Now when you first pull this out of the box, what you need to do is you need to pull this bubble off of there, and there's like a little latch on the bottom. You just want to lift up and then that comes right off. Now once you do that, you can see the gimbal's actually locked in place, so during shipping it's going to be locked into place. That way it doesn't get damaged or bumped around too much. So there's a little plastic thing right there, and you just want to squeeze the sides of it and then just pull it off just like that. And you can see that I have that off, and now the gimbal actually is loose and it can move. But you do need to pull this off before you actually attempt to fly it. That way the gimbal can move around. Now if you want, you can actually put this back on. You don't have to, and in my situation I didn't, because this will and can cause a glare if the sun hits it, which will, you know, affect your video footage. So you can fly this on if you want, if you're worried about debris hitting it or something like that, or water. I don't know what reason you would want to have this on, but you can fly it with that on. But again, in my situation, I just flew it with it off, and it was fine. There was no issues with it flying with it off. So the app, you do need to download an app for this to work, and it's called the DJI Go 4 app. Now when I looked at the reviews, they were horrendous. They were 2 stars out of 5 in the App Store. I started reading through some of the reviews, and it looks like it's people that had the drones, you know, previously from that version. They just had to update to the newest version, and there might have been problems, or they took features away. For me, never flying it, never knowing what any of the previous software was like, it flew perfectly, it operated properly, I didn't see any issues with it. But just to let you know, a lot of people complained about the software in the App Store. I guess there's something where this thing is constantly needing to be updated. So I would recommend, if you have a drone, turn it on before you leave your house. Make sure that any firmware is updated before you actually get out to wherever you're going to be flying it. There was some reports in the reviews that I read that people had to sit there and wait for their firmware to update before they could even fly the actual drone, which then will cause the battery to drain down because they have their units on the whole time waiting for that to finish downloading. So I don't know if that's an issue that DJI needs to fix up, or if it was just user error. It's hard to say, but I thought I'd let you guys know either way. Yeah, I liked it. I thought the controls were awesome. I thought they were very intuitive and easy to work. The app was awesome for me to use. There's features in there where it can follow you around. Once you click on it and you tell it that you want it to follow that subject around, it will fly after you and keep the camera focused on you and record whatever you're doing. So that was neat. There is some hand gestures that you can do with it. You have to wave at it, and then it recognizes you, and then you can actually do this, and it'll supposedly take, you know, selfie shots of you. I didn't try those features out. I was just getting accustomed to flying it without wrecking it or hitting trees or something like that, so I wasn't getting too in depth with it. But from a perspective of never owning a drone, never flying it, this thing is fantastic. This was a very, very easy to use. It made me feel very comfortable using it. And I would definitely recommend it if you're in the market for a drone. I would say the DJI Mavic is definitely the way to go. Now, they did just recently release the Spark, which is basically a smaller version of this that the props don't, you know, fold up. So it's going to be about the same size as this. The body itself is a little smaller, but you can't fold the propellers up under like you can this. So this is actually going to be a little more compact than that. That one is half the price at $500. This one's $1,000. But this one actually does 4K, as where the Spark only does 1080. So there's going to be a big difference in quality there. The images I got off of this look fantastic. They look amazing. And I haven't shot too much stuff in 4K yet, so I was definitely very pleased with this. But yeah, there you go. If you're somebody that's just into drones as a hobby and you just wanted to fly around and, you know, record things, or if you're doing, you know, weddings or events outside, anything outside, vlogging outside, anything like that, this is a fantastic way to go. It's super duper portable, and it's very easy to carry around, especially when the phone is not docked in this thing. It's very, very compact, and it's very easy to remove too. So you pull the phone out, and then you just take and flip these two things down in just like that, and there you go. That's it. That's two very compact, you know, pieces you just throw in your book bag or whatever you're carrying them in, and take them on the scene. So there you guys go. Let me know what you think of this this review. Again, I know there's a lot of other reviews from seasoned, you know, drone enthusiasts out there, but I thought I'd give my 2 cents from someone that has no experience with drones or flying them, or even photography on drones or any of that stuff. So there you guys go. Let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching my video, and have a nice day.